Hey everybody, welcome back to the 17th episode of the Editorcast. This time we will be featuring Alex Saytiev. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's fine. Okay, so let's start again. How and when did you start editing?
It was when I was 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like uh, a guy, like we're friends now, but he came over at the summer camp with a computer and he showed me Sony Vegas. And we just did some dumb, like we just recorded with the front webcam and just did like a bunch of dumb VFX that we thought were really cool at the time. And
Mm-hmm. Of
that's what
course.
really like got me into it. After like watching movies, all the CGI, and over time, like I got less and less into VFX and more into 3D.
Oh yeah. So you haven't done much editing. You've mostly just done 3D work. So a lot of people, including me, when moving to 3D, have this question, which is the most easiest 3D program to learn? Which I feel is a bit of a subjective question. But if you had to give your opinion, what would you say?
That's a good question. Like I haven't touched on a lot of programs, so I can't really compare it to that many others.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me wants to say Blender because it's open source, right? It's free.
Yep.
When it is free, there's so many people contributing and helping and stuff like that. Like
True.
if you want support for something like Houdini, there are not going to be many people to reach out to. But with Blender, there's a big community that may help you out.
Yeah, that's true because I think I've
So,
worked with I've done like a few animations starter things. They're really bad, but I'm getting into 3D, and I've found that when I was doing C4D, I started with C4D because I was watching Enigma streams, and that's
yeah.
why I started doing 3D. But with C4D, I couldn't find much help. But when I did Blender, they had like their own community server with like 140,000 members there, and it's like so active.
Yeah, it's
And
insane.
basically anybody you ask, they can help you out with Blender if they do 3D.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I mean, which is your main program right now?
Right now, it is Blender, pretty much.
Okay, so I've found a lot of 3D artists saying that different things are better on different programs. Like a lot of people use Houdini only for cloth simulations, and then they export those to Blender to make their actual animation. Is that like something you do?
Yeah, to some extent. We sometimes use Houdini for physics and fire simulations. For cloth
Okay.
specifically, I haven't messed too much around with it, but we're probably gonna find a guy that uses Marvelous Designer.
Okay. Well, what's Marvelous Designer? I don't know.
Oh, it's a editing program just for cloth simulation, nothing else. It's only cloth, and it's
Okay.
really fast and good at just cloth and nothing else.
Ah, okay.
So that's what
Um,
it.
okay. So you've done projects for Phase at this, like you worked on the Phase 5 entries, and now you're actually, I think you're signed. You're one of the editors who's signed to Phase, right? Publicly.
Yeah, that's
Um,
correct.
yeah, and so I remember about I think 4 months back or something like that. Yeah, in December, you'd made a Phase 5 entry yourself, which didn't get into the top 100. But when I saw that entry, I was just going around Twitter, and I think you tweeted about Enigma following you, and that's how I found you. You tweeted about Enigma following you. Enigma liked that tweet, and that it came onto my timeline. I go to your thing to see why Enigma followed you, and I found that Phase 5 submission. And I was so shocked and also kind of angry at the fact that it only had 40 likes. Yeah, but I think I retweeted and stuff. So what was the like really the idea behind that animation if you want to explain because you didn't get into the top 100 but later you worked on the same contest's winners' videos, which is kind of crazy. But did you have any hope going forward when you made the submission that you would actually get into like top 100, let alone into FaZe?
So yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster, that one. When creating it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought of like, in the esports industry, there aren't that many that I think are really good at 3D.
Okay.
Like FaZe and all the other arcs, in terms of their designers, 2D designers they have a plenty of. Like everyone is really good from every single team. But 3D was still like an untouched market that I felt was there's still potential for for like good 3D to show up around. So that's where I was like, you know what? I really enjoy doing cars, as evident from the like Rocket League video as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really like doing cars, so I was like, I'm gonna give that a try. Maybe you've heard of Nikki HD.
Yeah, yeah.
So she has been like, I don't know what she's been doing now for a while, but I wanted to do something like that. Be
Okay.
like the next upcoming like Nikki HD.
Yeah, I mean, she has some amazing edits with Clockwork, the series that she had going.
Yeah,
Um,
it was inspiring.
I mean, yeah, it's like one of those big edits that everybody watches. Fuse has Nevermore, and then Nikki has these ones. So what edit would you say thus far is your best work? What are you most proud of?
Uh, it so far it probably is the Rocket League video.
Okay. Wait, so you did only the 3D in that, right?
Say again?
You only did the 3D in that video, right?
Yeah, the intro.
Okay. And you don't do like editing actually? Just 3D now?
Yeah, like I don't do montage editing at all. I do like edit and cut together the 3D pieces, but nothing
Oh,
the sort of like what Starker does or Tafa.
okay. So, how long did you guys have to make the Rocket League video actually?
We had, I believe we had 4 weeks. It was completed in 2.5.
Uh-huh. That's okay. So, wait, so like that environment was like really crazy. Did you guys create that all by yourself?
So yeah, like it was a lot of detail put into once. So it was a lot of render times. The environment itself, it was like a kit bash, if you know what it is, where
Not
there's a bunch
really.
of okay, well, it's a bunch of pre-made buildings,
Uh-huh.
and then like I just made some additional adjustments to it and stuff like that to make it more futuristic.
All right.
And then we just used those buildings as like a hair system.
Okay.
So, and instead of like there's being hair, the buildings are like that hair strand, and we just have that scattered all across the place.
I see. I see. That was yeah, I mean that was like really really good edit. I saw it on Twitter first, and obviously Twitter ruins the quality, so I manually searched up on FaZe because I wanted to see the full quality. But actually, you guys got to announce it on Rocket League's own like live Twitch thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
that's insane.
uh-huh. Phase 5, actually, going back to that, I want to talk about more about that because, okay, so in about 2 weeks ago, the production head of Phase and the post-production head and gaming content head, Sean and Jesse Lomax, both of them were here on this podcast, and they said that they'd hoped that you got into top 100, but you didn't, and later on when they needed a 3D guy for Phase 5's intro, you were reached out because they loved your work. What was your reaction to that opportunity? Because initially you didn't get into the top 100, but then you just got offered directly to work with Phase. What was that feeling like?
Oh, this actually brings it in. When I watched the top 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw one or two other 3D people in there,
Okay.
like out of the 100. And when I didn't get it, I was angry. Like I was super furious. because
Okay.
I compared myself to the couple of 3D stuff that I saw in there,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking, how in the world did my animation not surpass that one? Because I
True.
personally felt like my car video was better than the other 3D stuff I saw there.
Okay.
So I was super angry at that. But then I thought, fuck it,
Mm.
and just forgot about FaZe. A little bit bummed out.
All right.
But then Sean reached out like 3 days later, and oh my god, the stars aligned. I was like, huh, this is interesting because like Sean told me that you know he doesn't know why I didn't make top 100, but secretly I think they did it on purpose.
Uh-huh.
It feels like it. Like I don't know
Oh
if that's
yeah.
true, but it kind of feels like it.
Yeah,
Where
because Sean said on the podcast too that he wanted, like, he was like on his vote or whatever. He did say that you should get in, but the others didn't think so, and he was actually bummed out about you not being there. And he said that on the podcast too, that he didn't know why you didn't get in. But yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So back to that. What? How did you feel? Describe that emotion, because I mean I imagined that, because when Sean told me that you were initially rejected and then gotten back in, and after recording the podcast that day, I just have this kind of a hobby of imagining, thinking and imagining stuff a lot, and I was imagining how you must have felt, and I still don't think I can properly replicate that feeling. So could you like describe it?
all right, so the main feeling was like, wait, are you for real? Like really? Like this isn't a joke, is it? And then it was one of those like, oh my god, like just shock. I was like, wait, this isn't happening. No way. And then it followed up with, all right, a bit of nervousness, like it's FaZe after all. All right, I gotta show a good first impression, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave me a Ubisoft project straight up, and I was
Oh.
like, oh my god, that's a lot on the line. It wasn't like one of like FaZe's personal stuff. It was a Ubisoft uh, branded project with Goyo. I had to do another like reveal for the skin.
Okay, that's damn. I did not know you did that.
Oh yeah, I did. So I was just thrown into the deep end right away. And
Okay.
then when I started that, it was like a lot of nervousness because I had to show that that I was worth it. And
True.
in the end, it worked out. We did more and more projects, and I felt happier after that. But it was like first denial,
Yeah.
then shock, then excitement, and then nervous
Uh
after
huh.
that.
Obviously, nervous. Obviously, like even with just the Phase 5 announcements, I think like each of them had like 200 something, 20, at least 20,000. I think 20,000 people watched the top 100 live, and then like there was like 60,000 watching the top 20, and then even more increasingly with the top 5. And that's a lot of people to have watched like your video live, because I know I've done I mean obviously I'm not I haven't worked for like two insane teams, but I have worked on a project that about 6,500 people and overall 6,000 people. Well, now I think it's like 24,000. But like 600 people watched that live, and I was shivering when that was like premiering. So it must have been crazy, like having so many people just turn their eyes to the work you made. So what was okay? So I wanted to talk about that intro too. What was the concept behind it? How did you guys come up with that whole scene?
So it was actually Sean that like came up with the main idea, which was like something cyberpunk, and futuristic and like gaming vibe for the. Is it the Phase 5 one? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we then, me, him, and Tafa, we put down, just went over the Google and just looked for lots of futuristic cyberpunk images. and we put that all together. And when I found out how much there was, like I had to make 5 different versions, and in the end, it actually ended up being 6 as well because there was like
Yeah.
a 6th winner.
Yeah, scope.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought like, no, there's no way I can make anything large, which is why I pitched the idea to have it being an alleyway instead.
Hmm.
It's like small enough to where it's not going to be very so difficult to make, because all of that, it had to like being built up from scratch.
Uh-huh.
But obviously we used a lot of pre-made models as well, but
Okay.
each time it had to be different angles, different colors, and yeah, it was just a lot of work, to the point where I was like, all right, I have to find out somehow to like make the rendering smaller, but still looking good enough. In the end, it
Uh,
didn't matter because I needed help from Hamoud to render as well.
yeah, well, I remember that Starker and Tafa were tweeting about you guys having some friend render PC system. I have no idea how that entirely works, but I don't know if you're a part of it even. But Starker and Tafa were talking about it on Twitter, saying that they asked their friends to leave their PCs on overnight, and then they use a software called Parsec to render on their PCs while they do their project on their PC. Did you do that?
I had to do it with that project, yes.
Okay,
With
so you
that
were a
one, I
part
had
of
to do
that
it.
thing because I saw that on
Not
Twitter.
like all of them. No, I only did it with one person, and it
Okay.
was like that one time.
Uh huh.
But ever since, like, I upgraded my PC, and now I have 2 PCs that
Oh.
can potentially render, I haven't needed to use like their help.
Okay. So how long did it exactly take to render one of those scenes?
Oh my god, I think it was in the near of 13 hours to render one scene.
Okay. And you used Octane?
That was Blender.
Oh, that
Blender
was
Cycle.
Blender. Cycles.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have what GPU do you have?
So back then it was a 2080 Ti.
Okay.
Now I use a 3090.
Okay. On both of your PCs.
No, on one of them. Like my main PC has a 3090 now, and the
Okay.
old one is a 2080 Ti.
All right. Well, how much difference did you feel from 2080 Ti to 3090? I've never gotten the opportunity to ask someone who has both of them.
Alright, so it actually is a straight up cut in half, like pretty much cut in half in render times. So if it's 2 minutes, now it's down to 1 minute.
Okay. I mean,
So yeah, that is very accurate, just straight
there
up half.
was, yeah, I mean, there was, according to NVIDIA's official website, even the 3070, I'm pretty sure they advertised as being double the speed of 2080 Ti. But there was a lot of controversy regarding that. That wasn't exactly true. And in some cases it was true, in some cases it wasn't. Do you face any crashes at any time? Like, did you do it before, or has it improved after you got the new PC?
No, crashes was actually very rare for me. I don't keep a lot of stuff on my workstation, so it remains very empty because all my files are stored on a server,
Oh,
like a home server. So, like the PC itself is actually relatively clean and empty, so I rarely, if ever, run into issues.
that is a
Yeah, it's very
cool
rare.
way to do that things.
Yeah, so
Um,
like, whenever I'm editing straight off the server. I don't have anything on the PC.
okay, but
So
doesn't that make things a bit slower though?
a tiny bit, yes, but I don't see like a huge, like the benefits outweigh the downsides for
Yeah, I
me
mean,
at least.
obviously, not having to crash is so much better.
Yeah,
um,
like I yeah, I don't remember once the last time I had to.
okay,
No, really, yeah, I actually
that
don't
is
remember.
all right. I might have to do that, dude. That's cool. Damn. So how big is that server?
It's 14 terabyte. So
14
not too.
terabyte.
It's like 14,000 gigabyte. So it's not
Yeah.
large, but it's decent.
I mean, you don't. Yeah, have you had like it fill up ever?
Right now it's sitting at I believe 6.
6 out of 14.
Yeah, and there's an additional 6, so 12, because the other 6, that's like backup, like a straight up copy of everything.
Oh, okay. So,
So yeah,
in case like the server fails and you need to. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
yeah. In case of one of the hard drives dies, I will have a backup of everything.
That is okay. Well, I actually now want to do that too. Because the idea of not crashing for an editor is crazy, and I and I think you don't even have to experience that. But I mean, yeah, that's really cool. And what CPU do you have paired with the 3090?
It's funny though because like the crashes I have comes from my own stupidity, right?
Uh huh.
It's rare with others, but I very often I render 2, 3 projects at once on the same PC.
Okay.
It is very common for me to open multiple blenders and render different sections at once.
Uh huh.
That's now Blender doesn't crash, but if I open up After Effects and render something there, then
Mm.
it crashes.
Okay.
So only after I open like 4 things at once, then it crashes. But who does that really?
That's like
And
really extreme.
yeah, um, with the CPU, I'm using a 3950X from AMD,
Okay.
and
Uh,
it's been working fine so far.
I thought you'd be using like one of those Epic or Threadrippers. Because those are crazy. I've like 64 cores or something. That is, I don't even know
That is,
how you could ever fill those up.
it's just that like I was very close to building a Threadripper build,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was an additional 2, 3 grand just to upgrade the CPU to that.
Okay.
So in the end, I render a lot more on GPU than I do on CPU. I think After Effects is the only thing that uses CPU for me.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, how much do you think both of your PCs combined cost?
Oh, 12 grand maybe?
12,000. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait. So your alt PC right now, 28, the one with 2080 Ti. That's your old PC, which was your main, right? And
Yeah.
you just made a new one now.
Yeah, like that one is now my lounge PC. It's still super powerful, but I use it for like VR or stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that is about what I was. I had a lot of questions about phase because I just like I was I really started looking up to you when Sean told me that you went from being not even in the top 100 to just directly working for phase. That was really motivational for me. And so yeah,
Yeah.
that was that was like one of the craziest things because I've had opportunities to work with big people that I've had to decline because of exams and other stuff, and it always demotivates you. But when I hear stories like this, it's really motivating. So yeah, moving on to more of the editing stuff or more of the production work. We One of the most common questions and so to speak problems really is motivation for artists. How do you keep yourself motivated if you like face a bad phase, so to speak?
All right. So it's like honestly, like the times I am the least motivated is when things don't go my way. And
Mm-hmm.
in terms of editing, like I plan ahead a lot, so that doesn't happen that often. But what does happen sometimes, like somewhat often, is when the client, like whether it's a big brand like Ubisoft or Activision, when they demand some changes that go so against your vision,
Oh.
like Rocket League Psionics, they had some one changed that was like uh, because they were I don't know, there was something with the license for the song that didn't go fully through, so they suggested to mute it and have no sound playing. They were like, "Oh, don't worry, our commentators, casters will talk over it, and we'll just see it." And
Uh-huh.
I remember Sean telling me that he was like bummed out about that, and I was like, too. I was like, "Wait, no way! There has to be a sound." And Sean actually, he gave them an ultimatum. He said, "All right, well, we're not gonna post. You guys aren't allowed to post it on your live broadcast." And that was like
Mm.
a whoa, Sean, are you serious? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in the end, they were like, okay, fine, we'll post it because they really wanted to show it too. Like it was a
Mm-hmm.
huge thing.
Yeah.
So that's demotivating.
I mean,
I
obviously.
keep myself motivated. I use a lot of like I don't know. I'm very competitive. So
Mm-hmm.
when I often look at other great people, and
Okay.
when I see great work for them in my mind, I think I should be able to do that too.
All right.
And for things that I can't do, I I I with a lot of editors, right?
Yeah.
I think something that like demotivates them is a lot of editors. I think they have this like I don't know if ego is the right word, but they feel like they have to do everything themselves,
Uh-huh.
from modeling to texturing to animating to editing to sound design, all by themselves.
Mm.
And sure, it's like a really great like credit. It's like, all right, awesome, you did all by yourself. That's really good.
Being really conscious about what you can do and
Yeah, but that is a I know it's a I used to be like that. It's a huge wall, and getting motivation to do all that work, it becomes really hard. And I don't know how one would get past that.
okay.
I think to help with motivation when facing such walls, because I think that's the most common one, is oh my god, how am I gonna do it? I want to do it, but it's so much work. I feel like I can do it, but it just ends up being a lot of work because a lot of great 3D guys, they have like high visions. You know, they envision themselves creating something big and huge, and that's amazing. But it takes a lot of work. I think
True.
accepting the fact that you're not good at everything, even in something like 3D, and hiring other people to do sections that you're not good at or don't want to do. So my team, we were currently 5 people. I well, 7 if you count the sound designers, but they're a little bit separate right now.
Okay.
We rarely face like demotivated stuff like that because now we're so many with very specific tasks and everyone is really good at their task. Ahmed, he's very good at modeling. Vikas, he's very good at animating. Chris, he's good at texturing and stuff like that. And I more mainly do camera work, storyboard, and just general directing.
Wait,
And
so
because we have
is this the team over at FaZe, or just do you have like a personal editing team?
that's my own team, and
Okay.
I work for FaZe, but I bring my team with me.
Okay.
So initially it was just me, but FaZe projects got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I wanted to do better and better work. And it came to a point where I understood like I can't do this by myself. If I want to be the next Nikki HD, because I think there was some controversy saying that she didn't do everything by herself either. But
I think no. The controversy was exactly that. Sparkles said in one of the videos that he hired a Fiverr artist to do some of like the modeling or some of the texturing, and I think that was what the controversy was about. That she didn't do everything because people knew her as like a one man army package or something like that. Um.
yeah,
So
but like it's okay, I think, not doing everything by yourself, and that's like what motivates us, and easier for us to be motivated. We see a project or we see movies like I watched Avatar recently again,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's amazing in 3D, absolutely a world class. And it was released in 2009. I still think it has one of the best CGIs.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like everyone has their work. We look
Mhm.
at other great people, and we know we can do that because, uh, yeah, all teamed up together, we can create that.
Okay. That is actually one of the most unique answers I received to this question.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense too. Having more people work and just having one specialty that you master in sort of. Um, but obviously, there's other people who do everything on their own, like Enigma. He did the 3D in Liquid's montage. He did the editing. He did the sound design. He did everything by himself, and I think that was a pretty decent montage, if not good. I mean, a lot of people just love that. Even some people even preferred that over phases, and obviously that just comes down to preference. But
Yeah, I saw that. And Enigma, he is really good. He is really good. And doing all that by himself, that is very impressive. It truly is. So,
yep.
as a like small critical point, I don't know that I feel like there is anyone that works by themselves. There's gonna be a limit to how much you can do in the end in a time frame.
Okay.
Uh, my belief is that with my team, I like here in Phase, like my team, I'm called the 3D Magician. That's like my nickname in here. We're trying to beat the competition many times over to the point when they think they're close to us in terms of 3D, we do even better. And if everyone keeps having doing everything by themselves, which is very impressive, but I think also limiting in their potential to create bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because esports, right? Things move very fast, deadlines are very short. You don't really have multiple months to do one project really amazing.
Yep.
That sort of time, sadly, it hasn't popped up for me. I think it'll rarely pop up for them too.
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, even like I'm not working on like really a huge large scale. Um, I'm mostly known in the Middle Eastern side of the the community and the esports side, and
Mhm.
like I've only worked with a few big teams here and there, and yeah, I mean you like I've barely gotten a deadline for over a week. Like nobody gives that much time nowadays because obviously there's tournaments, there's events, there's so much stuff going on that you don't have time, and then it's not even the your like the boss, whoever you're working for, it's not even their fault because they need to uh properly utilize the time that they have, because if a tournament happens and one of their players stands first in that tournament, they want to get out a video about that tournament within the time frame that the hype stays for that tournament. After the hype is
Yeah,
gone and you post a montage then of their player winning, nobody's gonna care. It's gonna do bad, and bad publicity for the team.
yeah, for sure. So it is one of those it's okay to not do everything yourself because, funnily enough, in the end, right, as a director for the team, you get all the credit either way. So that's kind of funny. But of course, I love my team. But some credit to myself as well because I'm organizing the team.
Yeah, true. I mean, I've worked on so basically I used to have this I used to own sort of co-own a team, not a team, a community, which had like this representative team. So basically it was a community of 2,000 people. As I said, I'm more known in the Middle Eastern side of the editing community and even the esports industry.
Hmm.
And that includes like the Pakistan, India area, and Pakistan, India, say a bit of Saudi side, Dubai, a lot of people from there, and I myself am from Pakistan, so we had this community Three of my friends created it way back in 2019, which was called the Pakistan Editing Community, because the all three founders were Pakistani. And then in 2020 we changed the name to Astro. But I got to be a co-owner of the team for some time, and I was organizing competitions, I was organizing collaborations with the editors, just content for the team channel and stuff. And sometimes leading is really hard, especially because if something messes up, everything is on you. Just like you said, you get all the credit, but if you mess something up, if your team messes something up, you have to face that too.
Yeah,
And
it's a lot of you take all the responsibility.
yep.
So if one of my team members messes up, Sean doesn't care. Like that's on me.
Yep. So, and I've had to face a lot of just hate because of that. I mean, obviously you make wrong decisions too. I've done that, but a lot of the time when we just had like the team didn't properly communicate with me and we had problems, and I had to face shit for that because people just put me on. I was the front representative there. And so like leading is the concept of leading sounds really cool until you're leading. It gets really hard at times, it gets stressful, and sometimes it's one of the biggest things that demotivates you because so I left team back in February, just like 2 months ago, because I felt that the community was just getting too much for me, and especially like having to take responsibility for everything, and there were a few problems too inside the team and with the community, and having to like just take everything, plus my editing stuff, because I was working for some big teams that had harsh deadlines. I just I had to leave something behind. Like you said, doing everything at once is just gets really hard. And obviously I have had big visions, big ambitions, I like to say, but you can't do everything, at least not at the same time. If you want to try everything, you give it a try, but not at the same time. That is
Yeah.
really true.
Like one of the main differences is also to the fact that if you study, right, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have less time to do your editing as well.
Yeah.
As well as me not doing everything myself. I don't have school. Like this is my job. Like there, I don't do anything else. And
Wait,
I
so have
started
you have you
recruiting.
completed school or did you drop out?
I dropped out first year of high school.
Okay.
So it was when I was 16. I dropped out. I have no diploma, no proof, nothing. Absolutely nothing that I even went to school. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
sorts of that. So it in the first 2 years, that was very depressing because the school that I hang out with, that was like a little bit further away. All my friends were there, and then I went back to my small little hometown. I was hanging out with nobody for 2 years, and in that depressive state, like I just like doodled a little bit of 3D intros on my own, like earned a little bit of commission here and there, and it really was like demoralizing, and it wasn't a good time. But following that, I started watching a little bit of self-help, started reading a bit of self-help, and that like brought me back up again. And now, yeah, like I have had ever since I was 18 and now 22, or even like 16, I had so much free time to just do 3D and 3D on its own. So that is also a limiting factor for many other 3D artists, is that they may not have all that free time, so they may not reach their like full potential that they can reach.
I mean, yeah, that is true. I'm in school right now. I have exams in 2 months, and to be honest, I'm not paying that much attention to school at the moment because, frankly, I don't care too much because, um, just I've been a very bright student ever since the start, and like I haven't had to ever put too much attention to school, and ever since I found like this as a passion, editing, I've never really paid attention to school. I still have like maintained my grades and stuff, but honestly, this has been my priority over school even, you could say. So I was gonna get to this topic, but now that we're talking about it, let's just get to that first. You're saying you dropped out in high school. So going to film schools, what do you think of that? Because you didn't go, but if someone else, you had to give advice to them, what would you say to them?
99% of them are useless, I think. The good thing about schools and film school or VFX schools is connections. Like they have direct connections with companies, and they show like, oh look, this is what our students did, and companies are like interested like in hiring young and upcoming people. So they often like ask schools, oh, how are your students doing? Is there any of them that does exceptional work? We might want to hire them straight off once they're done. So that's like the good thing about it. You get to learn, uh, you get all these connections, which is very important, I think, in this industry to have good connections. But in terms of like, I feel like learning by yourself, you can achieve the same as what you can on the schools, except for this one school, Nomen, if you know about that one.
No,
If it's
man.
yeah, if it's what's going to be one school that I'd recommend to anyone, it would be Nomen, Gnomon. That
Uh
school
huh.
is absolutely amazing. Even without the connections, the things you learn there, I would, because all of the teachers there, they work at AAA studios and big companies, or they have worked in the past.
Okay.
That's something that you don't very often see. So both you get both the connection, both the connections and like the teacher, right?
Yeah.
In most, like at least here in Norway, most VFX schools, the teacher may even be worse than you if you're like very aspiring and really love what you're doing. Meanwhile, at Noman, right, teachers there are high class, and those are the kind of like people you can look up to, and you can ask for direct feedback. If I go into like the Blender or one of the other like well, what is this one called, 3D art Discord, right, where people mostly do Fortnite stuff with Blender.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask for opinions there, oh, their opinions are so, I don't want to like degrade their opinions, but they're useless, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I ask for opinions, some advice I listen to, others you decide for yourself what you think is useful. But most of their stuff, they have no clue what they're doing. They just want to give advice, and it's not that it's rare that I find people that actually gives a solid advice.
Uh huh.
But with the schools, no man especially, you have a teacher that's so far ahead of you. He will be able to give you great advice, and that's what I think is good about it. The teachers and the connections. The learning stuff you can do by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Okay.
have, so why can't you?
True, true. I mean, with especially with at least with editing, you can just find everything you need on the internet. There's not
Yeah.
anything that I've done so far. I've been editing for 3 years. I've tried. I've edited in Vegas. I've edited in After Effects. I've done even DaVinci. And I've put my hand into 3D. And there's been nothing that I wanted to do, and I couldn't find something on the internet about it. So yeah, just learning as in general isn't a problem, but like you said, the connections and the professional experience. Because Enigma is going to a film school right now, and when he was on the podcast, he said that his takeaway from that is, like you said, he knows more than the teacher teaching him does, but how the teachers help him is with the professional experience, the professional terms, so to speak, because a lot of the time in this community, or the esports industry, we don't get to learn about the actual professional terms, what people in the film industry use, and so we sometimes we know what the work but we don't know the term, and that can lose us a lot of opportunities. And also some on-set etiquettes he mentioned that when you're making a film, there's just some rules or some manners, so to speak, that are to be followed, and everybody expects you to follow them. And you only learn those if you go to a film school and you have those lessons there. So that's I've seen this trend basically where people are like, if you're just worried about learning, it's not worth it. But you do get the connections and the professional experience and whatnot. So I mean, you've made it. Like, I mean, FaZe is crazy. It's like the biggest org in the world. And that. So, have you worked with any other big organization except for FaZe so far?
No, I just jumped straight up to phase right away. Actually,
So, what
uh,
what were you doing before FaZe exactly?
jack shit. I was doing nothing. I was just selling intros, 3D intros. That's all I was doing. The last time I was in an org was one org called Jinx many years ago, and also like Obey Alliance. Oh no, Obey
Oh, you were in
Supremacy.
Obey? Oh, Supremacy.
Yeah, I
It
think it was
wasn't.
Obey Supremacy. I
Isn't
don't
that
think
like Obey Alliance's like second roster or whatever?
it was like an OG stuff, like back in the day. I don't know if they're still around.
I mean, Obey Alliance is still around. I don't know about Obey
That one,
Supremacy.
the new one, the one with the like B logo.
Yeah. They're
Old
around.
one, yeah, the old one like that. I don't think it's still around. I made like their intro and stuff like that, and that was like my start. But I've
Okay.
been like without an org for like I don't know, like 3 4 years, right?
So,
And then
uh-huh.
I joined Phase.
So you were just working like for clients with your team?
Yeah, like it wasn't even my team; it was just me. I
Okay.
actually had to put together the team after I got like bigger projects from Phase. So we're all very recent.
Okay. So, okay, that's like crazy though. From just like, I mean, within a month everything happened.
Yeah, like
And
it's honestly surprising.
it's
Many people they like jump from org to org, right? It's bigger and slightly bigger and slightly bigger, like in the workplace. So very often people do that. They start as a trainee, then they go slightly bigger, then they're part time, full time, then leading designer, and then I don't know some higher position maybe. But no, this was just a straight up jump, straight up to the top.
I mean, it's like one of those. It's one of the things that proves how fast and how crazy this industry is. You never know when you blow up, and you never know when you just go from zero to everything. um, that's really, really good. I mean, congratulations, I guess.
Like,
Yeah, but your work is crazy too. I have to admit, like going back to what I said before, when I saw that animation, and the top 100 had already been announced, and I was like, why the fuck wasn't this in there? And then I also was kind of angry about the amount of likes it had. I was like, this is so underrated, and this community doesn't properly value production work. And I've had this argument with a lot of people. So that is you have some crazy work. I really want to do the work that you do one day. And Yeah, that
thank you very much.
concludes most that concludes most of the questions that I had. Also, there's a few questions that a friend had asked me about 3D. Okay, and they're just like about the questions about. So there's this one thing. Have you edited? Have you done 3D for Valorant?
No, not yet. Though I want to.
Not yet. Okay. Have you ever faced problems with like texturing in a game? Like you can't export the textures from the game or something?
Uh, in the past, yes, but not so much anymore because we receive the models and textures directly from the publishers.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay, so
like
like Rocket
Ubisoft,
League gave you them
yeah,
themselves?
yeah, they gave us the models. It was high quality cinematic models too. It wasn't the in-game ones.
Okay.
So when we received the cars, we was like, Jesus, this is insane! The amount of detail there was on the car. Like the disc brakes, the springs, they're like dampening the gearbox. It was everything. I was like, oh my god! Like Rocket League players, they never get to see the crazy amount of detail in this car. I think we had to reduce the quality by like imagine 100%. That's like full quality.
Mm-hmm.
We had to reduce it to 15 or something because it was so like it was
Wow.
way too much. It was going to take so long to render. And
Okay.
even by reducing it that much, they still looked great.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that you'd compress that. Uh, okay. Well, so there's this question. There's a problem actually, with Valorant recently since it's been released. Just now, there's not a lot of tools for the game, and people oftentimes cannot export textures from the game. And the only fix that has been suggested by people like Enigma is taking screenshots from in the game and then putting those in. Do you think you have a better solution to that?
Hmm. Like if you can't export,
Yeah.
that could be an idea, though it's a very risky one.
Mm-hmm.
Because have you heard of things like UV maps?
Yes.
Yeah, like imagine a cube, right?
Uh-huh.
A UV map decides, let's say it's a different color on the each of the face.
Yep.
The UV map decides that red goes on the left side, green should go on the right side, maybe white goes on the top. And when you change the colors, it always follows that rule. Meanwhile, if you take a screenshot, right, but you manage to export the models,
Yeah.
let's say that for you, the wall looks like this, and the planks are up there, the stone is down there with the screenshot. But the
Mm.
UV map is saying something completely different.
Yeah.
It's saying, okay, the bottom piece of this here, those are actually the planks, but for you, it's the stones. I think that's going to
Uh-huh.
be the issue with it.
True.
So, no, for that, I sadly don't have a not even like a suggestion. I don't even have too much experience with that because ever since working with FaZe, we've so far pretty much just gotten the models directly from the developers. So we
Mm.
haven't really faced that issue that much.
I
At
mean,
least I have.
yeah. Well, Enigma back when he did the Liquid montage, he had like the Liquid's Riot's directors reach out to him, and he did once say on stream that they were gonna release some sort of developer pack or something for editors to help them out with cinematics and whatever. But that hasn't come out thus far. Uh, just yeah, doing Valorant 3D is one of the hardest things right now because of the texturing and stuff. Because we actually have also had Starker, Tafa, and Hamoud on one episode on this podcast where we discussed the Valorant montage. And they also said that they had to take screenshots for certain scenes. Um, they said that you can export some textures, but not all of them. And then they also said that they didn't texture the whole map. They just textured the areas that they were making the scenes around. And sometimes they had to squeeze their whatever the camera showed just because they couldn't texture a certain part of the map. So that's one of the most. I think Valorant is one of the most hardest 3D games right now.
Oh, here comes something interesting when you mentioned it. From now on, I'm never
Mm.
gonna have that problem
Why?
because one of the team members, Chris, he's a texture artist.
Okay.
If we're missing anything, he can just go in game and he will recreate that texture.
Oh.
So actually, well now that I think about it, no, I don't think we're ever gonna have that problem anymore.
Well, that's cool actually.
Yeah,
Okay, actually, we could someone could hire a texture artist on Fiverr, and have them recreate all the textures and then sell a pack. I don't know. That's
yeah.
an idea.
In theory, that's possible.
That's an
Chris
idea.
figured it out.
Um.
He'd probably do it real because he was a former Ubisoft employee.
Oh.
So he worked at Ubisoft. Now he works at I forgot what the studio it was, but it was like some kind of studio that made like the Godfall PS5 game.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, he's really good. He's amazing at textures.
Okay.
He's a bit expensive, but he's worth it.
Okay. All right. Well, someone could do that. There's an idea for you if someone rich is watching this. Just, yeah, it's an
Yeah, it's all
investment.
fun and games until Riot legal team gets on your ass.
I mean, could they? I don't know.
Yeah, yes, in theory they could because it's their copyright.
Uh-huh,
But
true.
if they do it, like that's another question. If they do it,
I
that's a
mean,
bit.
you know, like how Enigma explained his interaction with Riot's developers, it seemed that they were like the most friendliest people on earth. And I mean, like I said, they promised a pack themselves. At least that's what I think, or maybe I misinterpreted it. But I think they were supposed to release a developer pack for editors, not a developer pack exactly, just a an assets pack. So yeah, I've been waiting for that too.
Oh, that's
Okay.
exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So that basically concludes all the topics that I had. There's one question from a viewer that was very interesting. We kind of already touched on that topic earlier in the podcast with talking about your phase 5 entry. But let me pull up that question real quick. And
Yeah.
that question says, all right, here it is. All right, so the question was asked by, mm, yeah, the question was asked by Zaint, and he asks, "What is the story behind his personality and why he got into animations, mainly 3D car animations, and what keeps him going?" Okay, so let's. I think there's like 4 questions in this,
Yeah,
just
there's
one
like
question.
multiple in that
So
one.
let's start with what is the story behind his personality.
My personality. Like, do you think you can like explain that one a little bit more? What you think he means by it?
Honestly,
Like,
I'm not sure.
like how I act?
I guess like maybe how you um found success. I don't know.
All right, so I think part of like as sad as it sounds, I had for me that like when I was 16 and I didn't have nothing, no job, no nothing. I was living with my parents, right?
Mhm.
And it was starting to reach 18 and I was still living with my parents, no nothing. For
Mhm.
me, that was rock bottom. And I don't know, it's strange, but hitting rock bottom, I'm not saying that you need to hit rock bottom, but for me, that was one of the ones like, all right, it can't get any worse than this. And now it was a lot of self-help books later that no, I'd recommend reading a lot of self-help books. I really do.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I have like 20 books here. Yeah, I'm still buying more, and they're just self-help. There's nothing else about them. They're kind of boring for the regular person.
Okay.
But hitting that rock bottom state is think like what developed me into like who I am now. I love to joke and do a lot of stuff, but for my age, especially when I'm around, with my team and stuff, I'm mentally a lot older than my actual age because of these self-help books. Like
Okay.
I I don't have many close friends. I think I only have two very close friends, and that's like good enough for me. I have a girlfriend now, but I don't go out partying. I don't go out drinking. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. Socializing, it's a bit rare for me. As sad as it sounds, and I've gotten used to it, a lot of my time is spent by myself. A lot. And just being sad and lonely, like it doesn't help me anything.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my free time in the early days, from 16 to 18, was spent with self-help books. And usually 16, 18 year old kids, they don't read that stuff. They're busy with school, hanging out with friends, partying, having fun, doing all that fun stuff in your young years.
Yep.
They don't have time for any of that stuff. They don't even want to.
Mm-hmm.
But me hitting rock bottom, I kind of had to. I had to get myself back up
All right.
somehow. My method was these books.
So.
And yeah, I think like that's one of how I got my personality now, and why I don't really get along with people around my age that much,
Mm-hmm.
because we're such like a different mentality level. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, you're worse than me or they're worse than me. It's just that I
You're
had
different.
to kind of mature at a younger age. Yeah, because I hit rock bottom. I had to get myself back up again.
Okay. That's yeah, I mean, okay. All right. Next question is why he got into animations.
Oh, why I got into animation? It must have been all the CGI stuff. I love watching movies. I wanted to be a director of movies first,
Mm-hmm.
but because I did VFX for a little bit, freelance VFX, but I was
Mm-hmm.
so annoyed that I had no control over the shots. If it was a
Yeah.
bad shot, well, it's like polishing a turd. It's still a
Yeah.
turd. So that's why I started to look more and more up into Pixar and Disney and DreamWorks, because if anything went wrong, you can always backtrace and figure it out. Meanwhile, if you shot something, well, that's the shot,
Yeah.
and that like really helped me with the 3D stuff. So yeah, it was because of how annoyed I was that I have no control when doing VFX that got me
Okay.
into the animation part.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think that could be one of the reasons like earlier we were discussing why some people do everything by themselves is they like to have control and then they also like to do the touch-ups by themselves, the VFX and also having control with the 3D. Maybe that's the motive for some people to do
That
everything
is
by
true.
themselves.
Now that you mention it, that is true. And looking back at it now, yeah, you're right. It was like a little bit of a. I had to accept and trust other people,
Mhm.
right? To do the things they did how I wanted it to and how I would have done it had I been good enough.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of like a, letting go of something and giving the trust to someone else.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, perhaps that's something that like is difficult for many editors to give up. And
Mhm.
I understand that would be difficult to give up.
Yep. And then he says mainly 3D car animation. So are you like a big car guy, IRL, or did you just like I like animating cars?
I'm not a huge like I don't know a lot about cars, but I love cars. I do.
Mm-hmm.
When when I was younger, right? I have this quote of my dad. I have like it designed and stuff, printed on my side on my desk here. But when I was like in that depressive state at 16, I watched a lot of YouTubers buying their dream car to their parents. And for me, my dad, he's a very like hardcore man, as you may call it. You know, so you have to be strong. You have to protect your people, take care of women. Don't show your emotions. Don't cry in front of us. Like a lot of those, like what normal people would call toxic masculinity. But
Mm-hmm.
he is very like a hardcore man. He's a good man, but he's a hardcore man. And he he was a big influence in me getting back up again. And I really wanted to buy him a car. So I like looked up a lot of cars. I want a Lamborghini for myself, by the way.
Okay.
Like that's what I want. So That's why I did it. I was a lot interested in a lot of cars, and I'm soon, very soon,
Okay, well, good
I'm
luck for
gonna
that,
buy
brother.
him his car.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, what keeps him going?
It's my dad again. When
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, he's my stepdad, right?
Okay.
And he got me very late. He he's now 65, and I'm just 22. Like he's almost like a granddad for many different people.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in his car one day when he drove me to my apartment, and he told me that he has done a lot in life, but there's one last thing he wishes, and I remember these words really clearly. He said, "My last wish is to see you succeed, to know that when I leave the world, that you will be okay, on like by myself." And that motivates me a lot. That's like my huge motivation to like show my dad that I am okay. Like I will be fine. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You've done great. Like that was his last wish, and it stresses me a lot out, and I'm really worried because like I am quite fine right now, but once I have been able to like that Lamborghini that I like had my goal and the car for him, those were like the 2 points that I've put in my mind. That's like, all right, once that happens, I've made it.
Mm.
But he's 65. I'm constantly wanting to do more and more to get it as soon as possible because
Okay.
that quote stays with me a lot, and I want to be able to like let him know that I made it before he leaves the world.
Uh-huh. Wow. That is crazy, actually. Well, yeah, I mean, once again, good luck. I hope you can live up to his words. You know, I'm also, I consider myself an overthinker, so to speak, and I also feel that I am a little more mature than my people my age, or if not mature, you could say knowledgeable, right?
Mm.
Um, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of quotes that I have. I just like every time someone says something and I find that impressive, I put it down in a notepad in my phone, and I use
What's the
that.
greatest quote you've heard?
What?
What's the greatest one of your greatest quotes that you that you like?
With this editing stuff, I think the best I've heard is by when so it was, I think it was by Scott Adams or something. Yeah, Scott Adams. He said, "Creativity is allowing yourself to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep." I love that one, and I also
Oh,
love. I also love this one. I heard this in a video. I'm not sure if this person said it himself, but this video was by Ryan Cow. He said, "When it's not your own story, it is not as scary to put into the world." And this video was about him explaining how he let go of his own passion and worked for other people instead of being an independent creator before he became an independent creator. And so he was just explaining his journey, and I loved this. Like, when it's not your own story, it's not as hard to put into the world, because I've been in that place, because whenever I'm doing a personal project, I want that vision that I have. I want that to be perfectly executed, and if
yeah.
I can't deliver that emotion that I wanted to, it just feels like a time waste, which also is considered perfectionism. It's like, anything short of perfection is just not acceptable. It is perfectionism. But that this is one of my most favorite quotes.
There's
One
one that I recently
quote.
read it,
Mm-hmm.
and like that. This is I have no idea who like I sadly don't know who's the author of that quote, but my favorite one, it goes like this: you didn't come this far to come this far.
Okay.
So if I say it slightly differently, it was like, you didn't come this far to only come this far.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So if you're like short of your goals and you still want to striving, in my case with the car and the gift to my dad,
I think
the quote keeps me going as well.
Yeah, I think that that quote is how my mindset is a lot of the time because as I said with leading and everything, and I'm still sort of but like in the December January time I was going through a really hard phase of my life. And obviously I still have to see a lot of the world. I'm only 16. And I'm not saying I've been like I'm really bad, but it was the worst phase that I have to face yet in my life. I've had to face yet. And it
I'm
was
glad you're
like
back on.
what?
I'm glad you're back on your feet.
Yeah, thank you. But that at that time, there were a lot of like times when I was just like, okay, maybe I should just quit. Maybe this is not for me. And then I would just relive all the achievements that I've made and all the time I've like where I've come thus far, and I'd just be like, if like I wouldn't have done all of this if I wasn't if it wasn't meant to be, right? Uh and like now if you go onto my Twitter, there's a pinned tweet which has like all my achievements on it, and it's basically in like a appreciation or motivation thread, which is like whenever I feel down now, whenever I just read that thread and I tell myself like I've done all of this and it's not for nothing. I have to go somewhere with it. So yeah, that is a really good quote. I'm actually gonna write that down. But and one quote in general, and when I was going through this hard phase in my life, I was watching a show called The Blacklist, and the person, there's a character in the show called Raymond Reddington. I'm not sure who exactly wrote this quote, but he says that there's nothing that can take the pain away, but eventually you'll find a way to live with it. It will be the first thing you think of when you wake up every day, until one day it'll be the second. So it's just, this is one of the things, dealing with pain and sometimes not getting what you want. This relates to that, which was something that I had gone through recently. So I love like these three quotes. These just define my mindset. And I actually am gonna write the one you just said. That I'm gonna write that down too. Okay, so you said, yeah, you didn't come this far to come this far. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That was a great quote. Thank you.
Uh,
So I mean, yeah, I think we have certainly like a similar mindsets. I have a lot of I'm a lot of the time I'm serious too. I don't like partying too much. I'll go out with friends every once in a while just to keep my mind fresh. But like, those discos, DJ party stuff, I don't like that either. Dancing and shit. So yeah, that's one of the things that I think might be similar in the two of us. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I've yeah. Okay, I'm kind of out of words now. All right, so just to end off the podcast on a lighter note, I wanted to ask about the NFT art that you posted.
All right. So, as you know, it's a masterpiece.
Yes.
It was too good for anyone to purchase. It was worth too much.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like in seriousness, I just thought like the NFT community was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was mostly annoyed by was probably how my feed on Twitter, I usually want to hear like, what are other editors doing? What are what are they up to? What product? What are they saying? But no, it was just a wall of NFTs. Share your NFTs, drop your NFTs. What do you think of my NFT? Dropping my NFT. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, unnecessary amounts of people jumping on the train to earn a quick buck.
Yep.
You could tell it wasn't for the art or them loving, necessarily to do it. You could tell it was because they wanted to earn the quick money, which, crypto art and foundation and super rare all of those. It was really quick money.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
like,
why I disliked it so much. All of the
I
people jumping on the bandwagon.
yeah, true, because like I know editors that not editors exactly, artists, 30 artists that made like $20,000 overnight, literally. Um,
Yeah,
and
it,
it's it's sort of stupid. I feel like this trend is gonna have a consequence in the future. I don't know how, but I mean,
yeah.
it's like that much money being thrown around. It's got to have some sort of a backlash or backfire or something. I don't know.
Like
Um,
I wouldn't have minded it had they had their own like platform to talk on, but everyone is bringing it to Twitter, and I just can't care about it.
No, but even then, like this digital currency stuff is still new, and everybody's jumping onto it, and like nobody's like considering the fact that there could be something, that we haven't found out yet, but that could be terribly wrong with it, and you should just kind of wait for it for now. But everybody's just jumping on it. That is really true. Like ever since I think the start of March, the timeline's just been full of NFT. So. Yeah, I actually really agree with that point of view. There.
Yeah, so when I made that like cube, it was kind of just like a like mock all of the others, like
Hmm.
selling their NFTs, and you could tell that by the way they designed them. Either it's a spacecraft, it's something uh,
I don't even know how that works. Like it's like a picture. You can download it. You can screenshot it. I don't get how that works.
I don't know. It's kind of like regular art, I guess, where someone owns it, even though different people made it.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, I thought the prices were ridiculous, but it is what it is. I don't understand regular art, how they can sell for so stupid much. I don't understand this one either.
Mhm. That
But hey,
is.
if people can make like good money with it, good for them. Good for them. I'm
Yeah.
jealous, but good for them.
True. I mean, okay, so I'm a Muslim, right? And
Yeah.
I'm
Ah,
so
salam.
I'm 90. Alaikum salam. I'm 90% sure that crypto is actually haram in the religion. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm 90% sure, and I don't want to start an argument when this goes up. It's just something that I read once somewhere, and that's why I'm not taking any risks. I had the opportunity to do something with crypto once, but I rejected it because I don't want to take any risks. So anybody else, any other Muslim artists watching, you should be careful of that. Do your research. At least do your research before you just jump into something like this. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with even if it's not like even leaving this Muslim kind of aspect aside, NFT is kind of stupid. Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
it's ridiculous.
yeah. But yeah,
Seen
I loved your tweet. It cracked me up.
have you seen the overly attached girlfriend meme?
No. Wait.
The
Is it the one like where he's looking behind another girl and?
No, yeah, it's a very old one where let me take a look it up. Overly attached girlfriend. Over.
Mm.
It was sold. Yeah, here it is. This girl, she's like a living meme. This one right here.
I don't see. Okay. Oh. Okay. I
And
don't know her actually.
she
Mm-hmm.
sold her that image. It's a very old one on the foundation, and it sold for 200 Ethereum, which is like $431,000.
Holy crap! What?
Yeah, it's not even art. It's just a meme. It's just a image. It's just it's
Just
not even like any 3D or not. It's an image.
that man is going to tell his future generations, I own a meme.
Yeah. So yeah, it's insane. It's stupid.
$400,000 for a meme, man. What the heck?
Yeah. To own this meme, have your name say that you own this. Wow.
Wow. Wow, dude. Wow.
So yeah, I didn't understand NFTs to begin with. Now I definitely don't understand.
True, true, true.
I got
Well,
really confused in the 3D aspect.
yep. Well, I mean, I'm doing me, you're doing you. Let's just focus on our work. I feel like I said, I feel like there's something's gonna come up with NFTs which is gonna be like really bad, because I don't understand the concept of making millions just in like a week. um so yeah.
I think
um
it has more to do with who made it rather than what they made.
hmm.
Like the story behind it. I think that's like what brings stuff their value.
Like I know what the kind of people that buy this stuff. Like previously the same people that bought art for like thousands of dollars, like actual drawn paintings.
Yeah.
The millionaire, like there's billionaires who just like this stuff, and they have those $1 million mansions, and they have their corridors are full of these paintings. Um,
Yeah.
but like these things, you can just get them printed. Nobody's gonna ask you. I don't know why
Yeah.
would you want
It's
to
not
own
like
them.
one of a kind and you can't like
Yeah,
get it anywhere else.
yeah. Like with hand drawn paintings, that made sense, but I don't know. Even hand drawn paintings like selling for like $60,000 doesn't, but still. Um, yeah, it's certainly a weird time we're living in. Um, so well, let's see how it plays out. I definitely have a bad feeling about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
I don't know
brings us.
about.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No.
No. You could go on.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that I don't know much about the cryptocurrency itself, but I think like the mindset people have by like looking at crypto art as like a quick, you know, a very quick money making scheme. I think that's very negative and bad right
Hmm.
now already.
I think if you just do art to make money, you're ultimately just gonna quit. Like I do art to because it's my passion. I love doing it, and obviously when I make it a career, I'm gonna be doing it for money technically.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's
obviously.
also because I chose this career because I was passionate for it. And if you're just like, you're doing something else that you're passionate for, but you see money in this industry and you come into this industry just for the money, I think you're ultimately gonna quit because it's not that easy. Obviously, there's hiccups everywhere, and why we face those hiccups and go overcome them is because we're passionate for what we do.
Oh, that actually reminds me. There's this one guy that I look up to, right, when I was doing intros,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing a lot of great work. And then I followed him on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter, and but then the NFTs stuff happened with crypto art, and he started just posting. That was the only thing he was doing. He was like, "Oh, this one is still for sale for 1 Ethereum. This drop right here is looking for a family," and he kept posting that over and over. And I just lost all respect for him. Like
uh,
I, I think like that example with him, it was so evident he was doing it for the money. He was doing great art. I was so inspired by him when I grew,
mm-hmm.
was still growing back then, and seeing him like take this turn, I just lost a lot of respect for him. Like
Oh.
I'm not gonna say who it is, but if you're listening and you know me, get your ass correct, Mac.
Yeah. Well, uh, it's something that we're it's happening in the world. Oh, what happened? What's going on?
It was just my 3D printer. It's done printing in the background. Don't worry, it's not a bomb or anything.
Okay. But yeah, it's just this is just the world we're living in today. We have to adapt with it, I guess. Not adapt, I guess. I'm not getting into crypto,
No.
but we have to live with it, so to speak.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So that sort of just brings us to the end of the podcast today. Um,
It's a
First of all,
long one.
yeah, this was a long one. I normally just, well, when we started way back when, I used to do like 2 hour ones, but then I found like, as bigger and bigger artists came, I know that they had tighter schedules, especially, like you guys working for FaZe, you have like really harsh deadlines. So I was like, I shouldn't take it too long, just like, an hour or something.
Uh, well,
Um,
for you,
but
I'm free, right?
yeah.
all
But yeah,
good.
this one just we got a bit carried away with NFT, and but actually a lot of topics with with how your personality and stuff. But
It was
yeah,
fun though.
I definitely enjoyed talking to you, and especially since we have a similar mindset. I love that, saving
That's
quotes and
really
stuff.
yeah.
Uh, I only have like one other friends that I like exchange quotes with, and I don't know. I think that's a different kind of friendship. That's a different level of friendship. But yeah, thank you for taking the time coming out here on the podcast, and you know,
Thank you very much for having me.
of course, man. I love your work, obviously.
Thank you.
And that it's an honor talking to you because just like you went from like December was insane for you. This podcast has sort of been insane for me. Like I've talked to everybody that inspires me that I look up to. Like Enigma, talking to Enigma was once just a dream. Fanboying in the chat, barely getting noticed by him. When he read my message, that was like the coolest thing ever, and then I got to talk to him. I'm actually the only person on the planet that has interviewed him. That is,
Really? That's
yeah.
really cool. That's
So
really cool.
yeah, it's made some of my wildest dreams come true. So thank you so much for taking the time and accepting to come on and talk to my dumbass for the first thing.
Well, thank you very much for
uh,
having my dumbass.
yeah, no, obviously. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck for any future projects, and obviously your, you know, with dad stuff. Like, I really hope you can make him proud and stuff. But yeah,
Don't worry. It'll happen.
it'll happen. Of course, just believe in the process. All right, and I'll see you around. I'll talk to you
Yes.
later, and
Yeah,
I'll see you people next week. The podcast, the watchers. I think, hopefully. Actually, Ramadan is starting next week. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like we're gonna have one next week, but we'll see. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
see ya.